I am not entirely sure where to begin with Obakeidoro. It can be best described as a lighter version of Dead by Daylight, but with a Tim Burton twist. The concept of the game is essentially virtual cops and robbers, with one monster attempting to capture the other three human characters before the 3-minute timer is up. There is not a single review of this game on YouTube, and a total of 1 critic and 1 user review on Metacritic, even though it was released in 2019, so I had to shed some light on it. Let's take a look. Obakeidoro, which very loosely translates to Boogie Run according to the game menus, was only released physically in Japan and Asia, but you can still download it digitally on other eShops. Because the Switch is region-free and the imported copies have English on the cartridge, I personally did import the Asian version of the game as it was simply too strange to not have my own copy of. The game was developed by Freestyle, a small team based out of Japan. They are a bit of an unknown entity as not all of their press releases get official English translations, but this seems to be their 3rd game in their portfolio. The official Twitter for the game also celebrated the sale of 100,000 copies in August of 2020. Almost 90% of those sales, though, were local to Japan, so despite decent numbers, it is still pretty unknown out west. Now, what is Obakeidoro? The main game divides 4 players into 2 teams. One player takes control of a variety of monsters who have one simple goal to capture all the other players, putting them in a jail in the center of any given map. The other team consists of 3 human players who have the opposite goal: don't get captured. In true cops and robbers fashion, human players that are uncaptured can rescue their teammates, forcing the player controlling the monster to recapture the other players over again. If any human players remain free after the 3-minute timer is up, they win the game. There is a check and balances system to the tools at the disposal of each team. The monsters are a little faster, have the ability to travel through objects, and have a team of AI-controlled ghosts who act as spotters of sorts for hiding humans. There are also music cues in the game to let the monsters know they are close to other players. The humans, on the other hand, are equipped with a single-use lantern, which they can use just one time to stun the monster and briefly allow for an escape, with the exception being that lanterns do get refreshed if jailed players are released. Humans can also try hiding on the map by turning off their lantern, forcing the monster to take precious time trying to find them. The game controls well enough once you get used to it. There are a few times where you desperately feel like you should have caught one of the human players, but again, with practice, this is almost a non-issue. My only gripe with the game is that it always cuts away to a small cutscene if a player is captured, where I would have preferred it to not cut away at all, as there are already indicators on screen to the status of each player. The various maps in the game all bring something a little bit different to the table. Maps sometimes shrink and the environment may change, some have more of a verticality to them than others, forcing humans to think quickly on their feet and not rely on a single strategy to escape the grasp of the monster. There are about a dozen maps in total, and the variety that is there is nice, although some are just reskinned versions of themselves with different elements or a different time of day. What initially caught my eye with this game, and some of you may agree, is the art style. It's oddly charming and creepy at the same time, and I'm not exactly sure what to compare it to, other than to say it is a more cartoony version of a Tim Burton movie. I love the overall aesthetic, and it really fits the game mechanisms quite nicely. There are several different characters to unlock as well, almost giving me a Monsters, Inc. vibe to your choices, each of them feeling unique in style. The game can be played online, locally using split screen, or locally using multiple switches. There is no story mode or anything like that, so you will be replaying the main game on different maps over and over again, kind of like Rocket League. When starting the game for the first time, I was really unsure I would find anyone to play with, but I haven't had to wait more than a couple minutes to find some opponents, which is pretty crucial in a game revolved around multiplayer. The matchmaking is admittedly a little basic, and I have some concerns it will hold up in the long run, but it works well enough, especially with AI-controlled characters slotting in if you can't get a full game of 4 players. Beyond the local and online versions of the main game, there are a few extras included to encourage replayability. The credits you collect throughout the game can be used to purchase additional characters, lanterns, and other oddities. The game also keeps a pretty detailed track of all your stats after every match, which eventually unlocks new titles and achievements as you play through the game. Obakidoro scores an 82%. The concept isn't revolutionary, but I've never seen it done quite like this. I think the game is more of a lighter distraction, best enjoyed in short bursts or locally with friends, but it holds up much better than I initially thought it would. I wish the game had a Western release in some ways, but that would also take away from the mysteriousness surrounding it, and there are enough players worldwide, mostly in Japan, to match up in games to keep it going. I definitely recommend the experience for anyone looking for an obscure game to play with friends. Honestly, Obakidoro epitomizes exactly what I like to find in strangely unique and fun gaming experiences.